Seagulls 11 was a Group 1 caliber 2-year-old, third in a Group 1 in Ireland, of course, one that hasn't really worked out brilliantly. And he'll be the last one to come forward. Here's Stuart for the Sir Henry Cecil.
They're off to race over the Bunbury Mile for the Edmondson Hall Solicitors Sir Henry Cecil Stakes. Down the centre, Royal Playwright in a purple jacket is handy, and is tracked through on the left by Arabian Story with the white cap, and on the right by Spectacular View with the red cap, and they form a pincer movement around Royal Playwright. King of City's yellow jacket racing close up in fourth as they go through the first quarter mile. Opera Ballo, William Buick in the all blue is back in fifth position, about 3 lengths off the lead, racing ahead of Seagulls 11. You might just see the white-faced chestnut towards the rear of the field. Upsize Elarak, the striped cap for Jim Crowley. At this stage, they're coming down the middle of the track as they approach the halfway point. Spectacular View on the right, upsize Royal Playwright. Arabian Story on the left, King of Cities between horses, and one from the right, Opera Ballo. And then Elarak and Seagulls 11 as they move on down now to the final 3 furlongs. Pace has begun to lift from quite some way out here. Spectacular View and Royal Playwright are going to ensure this is a long last quarter mile here. Opera Ballo, one from the right, being finessed into it. King of City's yellow jacket just looking for a way through, being forced to switch. Seagulls 11 on the left is making progress from the rear, as now Opera Ballo is shaken up and moves through the challenge as they race out of the dip. Seagulls 11 on the left is giving chase, but it's Opera Ballo in front by a couple of lengths. Seagulls 11 chasing hard. Opera Ballo running on strongly on a landmark day. It's now 3 for Buick, Godolphin and Charlie Appleby. Opera Ballo impressively over Seagulls 11, King of Cities and Spectacular View back in fourth.
Well, you wait a few days for your 2000s career winner, and then 3 come along at once. Maybe we can do them in reversed order, the last 2. Opera Ballo, clearly a hugely exciting horse, got so much ability. Still a shade raw?
He is. He's got all the ability in the world, and you know, Charlie and the team have been very patient with him, and I think we're sort of seeing what helps that has been to the horse now. So look, he's you know, the ability has always been there. He's not really headstrong. He's just a high tempo horse, and he's so ultra genuine. You know, he goes quick when, you know, like sort of 3.5 furlongs out, half a mile out there. You know, most horses were flat out in that race, and I was, you know, pulling double. So I just had to sort of ask him just to wait a little bit. But that's just the kind of horse he is. But he was much better today, I thought, than what we saw at Sandown. Sandown, things were made a little bit difficult for him, being trapped out wide. And, you know, when he got cover at Sandown, eventually he relaxed and he went on to win well. So today it was possibly just a little bit smoother for him. And I think he's, you know, he's a proper miler. And I wouldn't rule out him getting a minor quarter, sort of maybe even next year.
And next year is exactly what Charlie is talking about. It's clearly keep on doing those baby steps. Is that a view that you would endorse? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, you know, we've seen it help the horse massively so far, and you know, since the Craven, he's took every step in his stride, and you know, I think everything has been right for him. So it'd be lovely to stay on that trajectory, and you know, I'm sort of can't think exactly what races would come to mind for him right now, but you know, Charlie and the team and everybody will sit down and make a plan for him, and I'm sure everything will be with a view to next year with him as well.
And Charlie was just saying that he started to remind him of Ghaiyyath in the mornings. Did he mention that to you?
He did mention that to me. He's got a big engine like Ghaiyyath. So look, if you know, two slightly different horses, but two very good horses, and one thing they have in common is they're very willing. So high tempo horses, very willing.
Really looking forward to what this horse can do this season, and probably more importantly next. Crimson Rose, Charlie's of the view of her. I mean, good step forward from first to second start, but she's a bit of a now filly, a bit of a 2-year-old. Is that your view too?
I think so, yeah. She couldn't have done much more today. I thought she won well and really came on for her first run at Chelmsford where she was a bit green. Stepped forward, won well today. So she probably appreciated a little bit of time in between runs, but the team will make a plan, and she's here now and knows what she's doing.
And finally, notable speech who's been supplemented for the July Cup. Charlie's kind of suggesting that it was an itch he's always wanted to scratch. What's your view?
I'm definitely in the same camp, of course. He's such a speedy miler. I know he's never ran over any other trip, but he's, you know, each time he runs, he's nearly the last horse off the bridle. You know, he can. The Queen Anne, you just have to put a line through it. It was such a messy race. We were in the pocket, didn't get out till late. You know, everything conspired against him that day. So he didn't have a fair crack at it at all. So I think we can just completely put a line through it. His run in the Lockings was good, where he probably needed the run a little bit. And you go back to his wins last year in the Sussex and in the Guineas. You know, they were, you know, in the Sussex his turn of foot won him the race, and in the Guineas they went very fast, and he was the last horse off the bridle. So. You know, 7 furlongs wouldn't be any problem to him. Dropping to 6, we won't know until we turn up. And he's taken on, you know, seasoned 6 furlong horses at a very high level. But I do think he has what it takes to travel and be comfortable, and hopefully he can do that without me having to ask him too many questions early.
Well, very best of luck for Saturday and the rest of the week, and congratulations on your treble as well.
Yeah, thank you, Lydia.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
That was really exciting from Opera Ballo. I'm fascinated to hear what Charlie Appleby thinks now. You were talking beforehand that this was a horse you were going to mind, and we've seen the fruits of that there. He's got a lot of ability, hasn't he?
He has, Lydia, and I'm, you know, been very lucky to have some nice horses down through the years, but and obviously being lucky enough to train Ghaiyyath himself. And I did say to William, I saw him on last Saturday do a bit of work there, and I said to William, I said, this is as close as I've seen to Ghaiyyath moving up these gallops. You know, Ghaiyyath will get you excited in the morning, and this horse does. Now, I'm not going to say, you know, he is going to achieve what Ghaiyyath has achieved, but he's making we're on the right road now anyway. And as I said, Lydia, you know, he's a horse that 2 from 2 on your weather, got sort of dragged into that sort of Guineas / notable speech sort of hype, and I made a mistake myself by sort of, I don't say getting dragged into it as well, but at that time of year we know what we're all trying to do with those 3-year-olds. We're trying to find a Guineas horse, and
you found one, it just wasn't him.
Well, exactly, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, in trying to find one, I undid him slightly, and you know, he was very keen that day. All went wrong. As I said to you there pre-race, you know, I was keen to get him to Sandown, to get him on a turn and get him to switch off, because at home he's hard for anyone to sort of, he's horizontal at home. You put a hood on, take it off, you can gallop him in front, gallop him behind, he will never pick the bit up. That's why it's so, you know, when we see him here, he's just a different creature.
Yeah, once he gets to the racecourse, he's totally different. So what's the plan now? Are you going to creep along?
Along, yeah.
So are we thinking about that, something like the Thoroughbred Stakes?
Yeah, I don't know if something like Newmarket, Goodwood might find that a bit challenging. I've got Deauville penciled in my head potentially. There's a Group 3 there over the mile. He's a miler at this stage of the game. As like William said, he'd be quick enough to run him over 6, but he said he wants a mile and a quarter. Realistically, we've just got to teach that mindset to make sure he does it the right way around and can carry on doing so, and hopefully he's a horse for next year, Lily. That's what he is.
Right, so I think I probably know the answer to this question then. He's been put in the market for the Breeders' Cup Mile. Not this season.
Not
but maybe next year.
Maybe next year, yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, he'd be. That'd be. If I got there, A, I don't think I'd win, and B, I think I'd lose the horse forever.
Yeah.
So it's
so baby steps, hopefully moving up all the time.
Most definitely, yeah. I don't want to say get too sort of dreaming too big, but I feel he's a horse that can work back from a Queen Anne from next year.
Okay. And very briefly, Crimson Rose, you said just a filly going into the race, but she's won that quite convincingly.
Yeah, she has. She's a bit tricky in the gates there, and I think she's a filly that she's neat. She's a now filly. I don't think she's a filly you'll be looking as a Guineas filly or anything like that.
Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thanks, Lydia.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.